The biggest disease that pepper has is weeds. When you remove weeds from your pepper garden, you can even spray and spend 2 weeks or 2 weeks and a half without requiring to spray again, as you are being helped by the traps, as they also trap the rest of the insects. As you can see, this garden, we make sure we take care of it and it's clean. We make sure there are no weeds in this garden. We don't keep grass in the garden. So every time we see that the weeds are coming, I will tell them to come and weed the garden. So we keep it weed free. When it comes to hot pepper and the kinds of chemicals that are accepted to be used in the garden, you have to spray every week. In your garden, if harvesting is done on Friday, then the next day on Saturday, that's when you should do the spraying of your garden. Then after you have sprayed on Saturday, the next time you spray, it should not again be Saturday. It should be Sunday, because you have to make sure that you give the crops 7 days before harvest, so that the medicine you have sprayed wears off. And the recommendation or the standard is, when all our products are taken at the airport, there is a laboratory used to check these crops to make sure that the amount of chemical, it is not supposed to exceed 0.1. So if the chemical takes 7 days, and if you have sprayed this Saturday, when you spray again next Saturday, this chemical that you have sprayed is not yet completely over. There is still 0.1 in the fruit. So when you spray again on the next Saturday, you will make the crop to have 0.2, because according to the standard, you are allowed to harvest when the crop has 0.1 after the 7 days, but not 0.2. So when you spray again next Saturday and then you decide to harvest, you will think that you spent the 7 days without spraying, so the chemical was off. But when you had sprayed when there is still 0.1 in your crops, so now when you harvest again, you'll take your crops to the company and they will check them and they will tell you your crops are full of chemicals, we are not taking them. Even if you're using the required medication, it is important to follow this. Make sure when you spray this Saturday, skip the next Saturday, so that by that Saturday your crop has 0. Then spray after that Saturday when the crop now has 0 chemical in them. Now when it comes to harvesting, you start to use dudu-axylamethine. We also use nimbecidine. We put these two together and then they will make 2 in 1, and we spray on our crops. Dudu-axylamethine and nimbecidine, they will help you to kill the insect and also clear the leaf. One of them is a fungicide and another is an insecticide. So we put them together and spray the crops, which will give you a good leaf. Now, like the previous crop I told you, which has a small leaf and does not give you a good fruit. So when you spray these two together, it helps your crops to give you good leaves, which in turn will give you good fruits. Now you see the other chili pepper, it has no problem at all. All we have to do is to maintain our spraying schedule. We have 2 kinds of sprays that we use. We use powdered, but we also use water spray. The powdered medicines that we use include bacteriamethrine, which is made by the Bukola company. It helps to kill insects that bring problems to our leaves, to the leaves of the crop. Now, this is how you go about spraying your garden. If you're going to spray tomorrow, you have to come a day before your spraying day and scout your garden. This scouting is going to help you know what kind of chemical you're supposed to spray in your garden. Do not just pick any chemical and come and spray. Scout your garden before the spraying day to find out the state of your garden. When you see some insects, some diseases in your garden, then you will know the appropriate medication that you should be spraying that will be effective to help your garden and heal the defects that may be going on. Now, when you find out the defect in your garden during scouting, that's when you go and buy the medication that you're going to use. If you do not know the kind of medication that your crop will need, you can pick a plantation and go with it to these places where we buy this medication, show them your crop. They'll be able to advise you on what kind of spray that you can use. The kind of medication that you might need to spray may be very strong and poisonous, yet you need to treat your garden and you are in the harvesting season. The problem that presents is you spray the medication and you skip harvesting. You can remove those which are extremely ready, harvest them and throw them away, so that you do not spoil the overall market for every farmer when you try to send off crops which are poisonous. Because when you do that, you don't only spoil the market for yourself, but you also spoil it for the rest of the Ugandans, because then it will be noted in the European markets that Uganda brings poisonous fruits. Now you have to keep changing the medication, because now the medicine that can chase a black spot, now you can check this crop, what it has here. I don't know the English name. In Luganda it's called chikata. And when it has come into your crop, the medicine used to treat this is the powdered medicine, the same as the one used to grow, the same as the kind used on tomatoes. We have Toprite, bacteriomycin, Ciovet. That's the kind we use, but we don't use Indophil. Only those of tomatoes use Indophil. We don't use Indophil on pepper. And also, when you're measuring the amounts to use on your crops, you have to use amounts that will not stick to the crop, especially when you're using this powdered medication to treat your garden, because when your medicine is attached to the crop, when the crop goes for checking, it will not pass the check mark. It will be found to have high quantities of chemicals. There are people, when they are directed particular measures to use for their crops, like if they tell you use 50 mils and they feel they want their crops to heal faster, they will use 100 mils. When you do that, you will kill the crop, because you will have given it overdose. Just like you, an individual, if you go to the hospital and they tell you this pill, take one today and then take another tomorrow. If you take both of them today, would that affect you? There you will kill yourself. And that's the same for the crops. Only use the measures which have been recommended to you.
Kalimbo w'enkoko.